clean up in aisle 5. You're gonna need tear gas, pepper spray, and assault gear just to listen to this show.
Sasquatch, the moon landing, UFOs, 9/11, flat earth, JFK. All of these things have one thing in common: unanswered questions. So let's get to the bottom of that.
Now here's something completely random.
Animals in action, animals in action.
Random.
We using that in the intro?
Thank you and good night!
Iceman Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That, a bunch of weirdos on a mic.
And we're back at it. Welcome into another episode of Let's Get to the Bottom of That. I'm your host, Byron Dice. I'm joined in studio by Curtis and Joey. Of course, Curtis is, and we always got to bring this out, he is wearing a different hat every time.
No.
Do we have some context on this hat? And did anybody send you this hat?
No, I purchased it myself.
Just say yes, so that people are like want to be in the know.
Because then I have to drop the name.
Just make up a name.
Curtis
Good.
got me this hat.
This couldn't go with Jack.
Curtis.
Jack. Jack.
Got me this hat
Jonathan Mehoff.
at the
Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan Mehoff. I got it at Orlando Studios. Another one of my purchases there at the Simpsons place. So you
Yeah,
see Homer
Dixon.
Simpson?
I didn't know there was a Simpson place.
Dixon.
It was
got
awesome.
him.
It was like harkening back to my childhood.
Okay, gotcha. Is that still going?
Yeah,
I think that's the longest running things,
It's like
except
40
for a
years.
soap opera.
Yeah, it's like 40
Soap
years.
operas never end either.
I never got into The Simpsons.
I didn't either.
I
I knew
soap
Bart.
operas.
Oh, I didn't either until I did.
But if you do want to send me a hat, I will wear it on the show and I will name drop you. Send it to P.O. Box 68, Peculiar, Missouri 64078.
That is so peculiar.
It's strange.
That is strange.
Well, welcome back into another episode. Appreciate y'all checking us out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. If you want to, float us some cash, we will open up another subscribe model shortly. Today we're talking about Philly cheesesteak,
Yep.
aka the Philadelphia experiment, which that's probably where cheesesteaks came from.
Yeah.
Out of this experiment.
Yeah. Yep.
Because once they were done, they were like, hey, "That's a pretty good cheesesteak."
It's on a hoagie.
I'm so glad that we did this experiment.
Which
After
also
they
call
saw the
sandwiches.
sub or the boat
Right.
disappear
Yeah, and
and then reappear,
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? I can make a sub sandwich disappear if it's got steak and cheese on it.
exactly.
And then the movie Coneheads came out.
And then Coneheads came out.
right, and then Bob's your uncle,
Yep. And then Dixon Yass sent him
and sent him a hat. Where's- last week's question of the week was good stuff,
Yeah, what was
and
the
you
question?
guys were right. If your friend has high blood pressure, it means he's a blood sucking
He's not.
reptilian.
He's not a
He's
blood
not a
sucker.
blood
He is.
sucker.
That means because if you have high blood pressure, it means you are not
Okay.
a blood sucking reptilian.
Crap, I
So,
might be a blood-sucking
Y'all both
reptilian.
got that right. So hopefully everybody out that voted got it right. If you got it right, somebody should send. Yeah,
Should have got one of those blood
I don't
pressure
have high
monitors.
blood pressure. I might be a blood sucking reptilian.
Me too.
I have high blood pressure.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Dude,
Gotta get that checked out, bro.
we got to get his blood later.
I think
Byron.
it's real high right now,
We
too. With all the coffee I've been drinking.
Yeah, we go like 4 gallons while we record the show. No pun intended. Today's question of the week, or this week, is according to Conspiracist, the Mayan king Pakal
Yep.
is depicted doing what in an image on the lid of his tomb?
Having sex. I don't know.
That's close. Piloting a spaceship, taking a whiz, entering a time portal, or wielding a lightsaber?
I'm gonna have to go with time portal.
Time portal?
You said his name's Yas?
Yes.
What's his name?
His name's Pakal.
Oh, Pakal. Okay. I'm gonna
Seymour.
look
Seymour Butts?
But
Seymour
Why does that
Pakal.
joke never get old?
I don't know.
IP Freely?
What joke?
Yeah.
What do you mean one joke?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Seymour Hairy Butts.
Seymour.
So if you want to participate in the question of the week, just scroll right below this episode that you're listening on right now and vote for what you think is depicted on his tomb.
You need the Shia LaBeouf thing. Just do it right after that.
Oh, good one. I should get that.
So let's program that in.
instead of this.
Yeah.
So was this in Philly?
I would think so.
The
Okay.
Pahili.
That's a good question. The Philly cheesesteak. Do we have any current events we need to go over before we start the show? Let's see. I talked about question of the week, subscription model. We're going to get that if you want to financially support the show. Anything else? We
Trump
did the
Is
hats.
Trump sworn in yet?
Trump probably by the time this drops has been sworn in, and the Capitol has probably been exploded.
Whoa.
There was probably.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
boy.
Since the 20 was it 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the insurrection.
Yeah.
There was probably another one. You okay, Joe?
Yeah, bro.
Okay. He went down. He's rubbing the head.
Just ready to get,
Okay. Well,
just ready to get to
you
it.
ready to get in the Philadelphia
Philadelphia.
experiment? By the way, all these are connected. We just got finished with Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project. It's probably connected to the Philly cheesesteak, Philly experiment.
And this is connected to the Titanic because
Exactly.
the Titanic happened
And J.P. Morgan probably financed
on
this.
planet Earth, and
Yes.
this happened too. So,
On planet Earth.
Well, I will
Yeah.
tell you this. So we'll start off here, and then we'll get into it. Allegedly, so that's probably the most important thing. In the fall of 1943, there was a U.S. naval destroyer. It was made invisible and teleported from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Norfolk, Virginia,
oh, snap.
in an incident known as the Philadelphia experiment. Now, by the way, I will say this. You can go watch this. There's tons of movies on this.
Yeah.
Some are really bad.
that
I mean,
took
it's-
place in Philadelphia.
What? The
Never
movie?
I'm just trying to throw you off, bro. I think I got
Mission
you.
Wait, was there a
accomplished.
sandwich? I just kind of wait.
Hey, it's my slap
Joe-
happy time, boys and girls.
Hold on a sec.
I get a sip.
That's not coffee.
There it is.
This is coffee.
Yeah, in Philadelphia. So allegedly there was a teleported naval destroyer, and we'll get into what the name of it was. But records in the Operational Archives branch of the Naval Historical Center have been repeatedly searched, but no documents have ever been located which confirm the event or any interest of the Navy in attempting such an event. Number one, why would the Navy want to teleport a ship from one place to another? Because that's motive. Why would you want to do this?
Because troop movements are a huge thing. People can see a big old ship going across, and you're like, oh, hey, that's where they're going.
Oh, so you just pop up over in Nagasaki,
Boom.
and then boom, start shelling.
Bob's your uncle.
Start shelling out mortar rounds.
Or you could just teleport a bomb
and then
600 meters
Instead of-
above an area. Poof, and
That's
then be like,
good.
what was that?
So okay, so the experiment makes sense.
Maybe.
So
I don't know.
teleportation.
I don't know if teleportation was the original plan, though, from what I'm understanding. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Well, what do you got? Well, so what's the name of the ship?
Well, so the official backdrop, we're talking October 28th, 1943, 17, what? I don't know how to read military.
Well, that's 17, 15.
Minus 12
17, 15 hours,
It's
which is 5:15
5:15
civilian time.
p.m.
civilian time.
Yeah.
According to the story, the event in question took place on the afternoon of October 28th, 1943.
Okay. Well, hold up.
Hold
I'm
up.
sorry. So we just got finished talking about some historical dates
Mm-hmm.
when there was a bomb dropped in 1945.
Yep.
We got attacked in Pearl Harbor in 41.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden in 43, we're trying to teleport ships?
Smack dab in the
Boom.
middle.
It kind of makes sense now.
There's your context.
Context.
So,
it's all
The
tied together.
USS Eldridge, a newly commissioned Cannon-class destroyer escort, was reportedly docked at Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. The official Navy records confirm the Eldridge's presence at or near Philadelphia during that autumn, as ships were routinely outfitted with advanced radar and degassing equipment.
Degassing.
Degassing
Sorry.
equipment intended to protect them from the German U-boats.
There's your U-boat.
Yep.
Connection.
There it is. Not in 1913. 12, I mean.
The war in the Atlantic was at full tilt, and the Allies needed every technological advantage they could muster.
There you go.
What in the public and most servicemen knew, engineers and scientists were refining electromagnetic field generators and related gear intended to render ships invisible to underwater mines. Declassified Navy documents reference degaussing as standard practice, a way to reduce a ship's magnetic signature. There is nothing in these records to suggest that anyone was trying to achieve true optical invisibility or teleportation.
Now, I wonder who wrote that.
Who did that?
I mean, yeah, there's nothing in the records that say that we want to teleport a ship.
Yeah. But yet, in the annals of the conspiracy lore, the official story only tells half the tale. So
what's the other half?
I don't know. Curtis, do you have something to add there?
Yeah, just a second. I was looking at. I remembered a episode of the X-Files that had to deal with. It's called Dead Calm was the episode, and it was like they board this destroyer that was. Everybody had aged a lot or something. So I was wondering if it had anything to do with the Philly experiment.
I've seen that one. I've binged that show at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Front to back.
Really? The whole way through? I always lose interest after about
What show
of
is
the way
it?
through.
The X-Files.
Oh, really?
That'll help you on the show. You should watch it.
Okay.
The X-Files?
Yes.
So
I don't know, man.
Morris K. Jessup was an American astronomer, researcher, and writer best known for his work on UFOs and theories of extraterrestrial life. Jessup held a master's degree in astronomy and initially focused on traditional scientific research, but his career shifted when he became interested in unexplained phenomena. He authored several books, including The Case for the UFO in 1955, when he explored unidentified flying objects and alternative explanations for historical mysteries. So that book was written 12 years after the Philly experiment issue.
Wow. Okay.
So Jessup's work gained attention when he linked to the infamous Philadelphia experiment, a supposed secret military project to render ships invisible. A mysterious package from a man named Carlos Allende, or Carl Allen, introduced him to claims of bizarre events involving government experiments.
Yeah.
Jessup's involvement in the story contributed to his growing reputation in UFO conspiracy theories. Despite his academic background, Jessup's career was overshadowed by controversy and skepticism from the scientific community.
Oh, no.
He died under unclear circumstances, officially ruled as a suicide, but his work continues to intrigue conspiracy theorists and UFO enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Well, how did he die?
So he was found in his car with a hose attached from the tailpipe to the window and rags stuffed into the cracks of the windows, so it was like he committed suicide.
Oh, okay.
By,
this at his
by
home?
asphyxiation. I don't think it was in his home. I think it was like in a park or something.
What?
Yeah.
Are you what?
I
A
read it-
park?
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Number one, if I'm going to off myself, and we probably just got banned on YouTube because I said that.
Unalive. You gotta say
By the way, you're
unalive.
not suicidal.
Right. I'm not. But I wouldn't go. If I,
don't
was going to
think
do
Curtis
that.
has ever said that on the show, though.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and say that.
You need to say it on the record.
I'm not suicidal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I would never go to a park, get the hose, and do the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. You'd be in your...
I'd do it in my garage.
Yeah.
Why would I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
It's kind of like the Office Space. You seen that? Have you ever seen the Office Space?
Office Space, that one,
Okay.
He wanted the stapler in the basement?
Yeah.
I do
Which
have.
stapler?
I do have the death and controversy. So
Okay, go ahead.
the date was April 20th, 1959. He was found in his 1958 Chevy station wagon in Matheson Hammock Park. So it was a park. Dade County, Florida, which is the same county as Miami, is in Miami-Dade County, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Acute carbon monoxide poisoning, ruled a suicide. He unusual details was he was missing his briefcase and lack of notes or manuscripts at the scene. Suspicious elements of the setup was, like, example was use of a large hose, wired hose, water-soaked rags, no water source nearby. Conflicting reports about his blood alcohol levels at the presence of drugs. His wife refused to identify the body. It was later identified by mysterious Leon A. Sewell. A lack of autopsy, despite state laws potentially requiring one. Also, so those are some of the things surrounding his death. So it seemed like foul play because there's no water source. Where did he get the water to wet the rags? Where did, that kind of stuff.
This dude was taken out.
Mm-hmm.
So the rumors, so shortly after the war in 1955, a series of letters from Carlos Miguel Allende, called Carl Allen, surfaced, addressed to the researcher and astronomer Morris K. Jessup, which he just talked about. These letters claimed that the USS Eldridge had vanished from Philadelphia's harbor in a greenish-blue haze, only to reappear minutes later in Norfolk, Virginia, over 200 miles away, before blinking back into Philadelphia waters. Allende insisted that the Navy had stumbled upon not just radar invisibility, but something far stranger, a manipulation of space-time itself.
Okay, let me
Piggyback.
No. Let me just kind of process what you just said.
Yeah.
Morris got some letters from Carlos.
Yeah. Series
that
of
right?
letters purportedly from a Carlos Miguel Allende, sometimes identified as Carl Allen, surfaced.
That was his actual name, was Carl Allen. They found out later that there was no Carlos Allende. It was Carl Allen.
Oh, okay. So he just changed
that's
it.
So he made up an alias?
They were addressed to the researcher and astronomer Morris K. Jessup. In the letters, they claimed that it had vanished.
That's what I was just trying to get.
Reappeared.
So the letters, he sent them to Jessup.
Mm-hmm.
So are we saying Carlos was a eyewitness to this?
Well, there is alleged witnesses in conflicting timelines. So
Let's go.
One challenge to verifying the story lies in the death of the reliable eyewitnesses, sailors who served aboard the Eldridge and crew members stationed at the Philadelphia Naval Yard in October 1943 mostly recount routine duties. Official deck logs and convey records place the Eldridge elsewhere at critical times, including voyages in the Atlantic, but these logs themselves are sometimes called into question by the believers who claim falsification or deliberate misdirection. Among alleged witnesses, some claim who have seen a shimmering outline of the Eldridge as if enveloped in mist or electrical discharge. Others say they spotted nothing unusual at all. Over time, exaggerated accounts crept into narrative. Some claim crewmen were fused into bulkheads when the ship materialized, while other whispers that sailors who survived went insane, stricken by bizarre after effects or spontaneous invisibility. No medical records or verifiable personal accounts support these extreme stories, but the lack of evidence fuels the legend. Could it be hidden under layers of classification? What do you guys think?
Well, I have heard, and I watched the movie, that when it came back, people were fused into the bulkheads.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people just screaming. It was mass pandemonium. I don't know. If we have... It makes sense. It sounds like to me, we're trying to make our ship more invisible because we're in this crazy wartime right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to get the edge on our enemy. And something went wrong.
Yeah.
The invisibility that we're trying to do, we actually did teleportation. And we brought it back, and maybe they scrubbed it because a lot of people got killed. And then they were like, let's hide this under cover of darkness.
How do naval mines work? They're magnetic, aren't they?
So I'm not sure.
The
That's
degaussing.
a good question.
So
yes, there's some
degaussing
kind
was
of
a
magnetic thing that you have to do with the ship.
Right. So the ship passes by, and I think the magnets in the mines are attracted to that, and then it blows or something, ripping holes in the hull. So degaussing is something that, as you're going through the water, I think you're stripping electrons, which are causing like static buildup.
Yeah.
So doing the degaussing, I think one of the official things that I read was that they were trying a new degaussing project, not to make it invisible, but invisible to minds.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah, and maybe they stumbled onto something.
Well, here's the actual, eyewitness accounts. Carlos Miguel, Carl Allen, the letters in 1955, letters sent by Carlos to Morris Jessup, later reproduced in the Barrow annotated edition of Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO. So the quote says, the ships vanished from sight and popped up at Norfolk, only to reappear in Philadelphia seconds later. So although they were not in the public domain, excerpts can be found in various editions of Jessup's work and in multiple secondary analysis, such as Valley Shaku's Anatomy of a Hoax, The Philadelphia Experiment, 50 years later. So Morris Jessup, the original book sparked interest with the Office of Naval Research, received annotated copies filled with strange notes, allegedly from Allende. The quote says, certain correspondents have hinted at experiments beyond the known scope of contemporary physics. If true, these will challenge our understanding of what's possible at sea. So speculative commentary provided platform and turned isolated claims. So those are the two main ones. So the official statements by the U.S. Navy and official naval research. The Office of Naval Research has never conducted any investigations on invisibility, either in 1943 or any other time. ONR was established in 1946 and is not successor to any Navy entity with that mission. We have never been able to find any official documents that corroborate these claims. Interviews with crew members, various journalists. I mean, but the news kind of went crazy over this. Go ahead, Curtis.
So I looked up. It's Carl Meredith Allen, also known as Carlos Allende, corresponded with author Morris K. Jessup in the 1950s, discussing the alleged Philadelphia experiment. These letters are central to the lore surrounding the supposed naval experiment. For those interested in reading Allen's letters, a Varro edition of Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO, includes annotations and letters attributed to Allen. A digital version of this edition is available on archive.org. And additionally, the Carlos Allende papers, which include his correspondence and research materials, are archived at the American Heritage Center at the University of Wyoming. More information about this collection can be found, and it gives the link. These resources provided insight into Allen's claims and his communication with Jessup regarding the Philly experiment. So,
Colonel Jessup.
Colonel.
A few good men. Well, I will add to this. I don't know if you guys got this in your notes, but I'm going to share a website in a minute. Supposedly, there was a civilian crew, a merchant ship, the USS Andrew Forsyth. They observed the arrival of the teleportation in Norfolk.
Yeah. Saw him pop up.
Yeah. So Andrew Forsyth's movement report cards are in the 10th Fleet records. So these are actual records that somebody said, hey, here's my statement, and they put them in an archive. It is in the custody of the Modern Military Branch National Archives and Records Administration. That is at 8601 Adelphi Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740. If you want to go there and look it up, you're welcome to it. The movement report cards list the merchant ship's port of call, the dates of the visit, convoy destination, if any. Also, the report card shows that Andrew Forsyth left Norfolk with a convoy UGS-15 on 16th of August, 1943, and arrived in Casablanca on the 2nd of September. The ship left Casablanca on 19 September and arrived off Cape Henry on 4 October. So Andrew Forsyth left Norfolk with a convoy on October 25th, arrived at Oran in November, and on the 12th of November. The ship remained in the Mediterranean until the convoy Gus 25 to Hamptons Road on 17 January 1944. So the archives has a letter from Lieutenant Junior Grade William S. Dodge. He's retired. He was the master of the Andrew Forsyth in 1943. categorically denying that he or his crew, so this retired junior grade Mr. Dodge said, we did not observe any unusual event. However, some of the crew has stated that they did see the Eldridge pop up in Norfolk. Now, you mentioned the Office of Naval Research, the ONR, that was started in, I can't remember when you said they started that, but they have stated that the use of force fields to make a ship and her crew invisible does not conform to physical laws. Also, they claim that Dr. Albert Einstein's unified field theory was never completed. Now, I'm not sure what that theory is. The unified field theory.
I'm going to look it up.
So during 1943 to 44, Einstein was part-time consultant. Of course he was. He was a consultant in the Navy's Bureau of Ordnance, undertaking theoretical research on explosives and explosions.
What was the name of it again?
It's called unified field theory. However, there's no indication that Einstein was involved in research relevant to invisibility or teleportation. You got something on unified?
Yeah. So unified field theory was an ambitious attempt by Albert Einstein to formulate a single all-encompassing theoretical framework that would unify the fundamental forces of nature. Specifically, Einstein sought to reconcile a general relativity, which describes gravity, with electromagnetism, aiming to integrate these two distinct forces into a single coherent theory. General Relativity, published in 1915, Einstein's general theory of relativity revolutionized our understanding of gravity, describing it as not a force, but as a curvature of space-time caused by mass and energy. Electromagnetism, by the late 19th and 20th century, James Clerk Maxwell had formulated the classical theory of electromagnetism, unifying electricity and magnetism to a single theoretical framework. Despite the success of both theories in their retrospective domains, Einstein was dissatisfied that gravity, described by GR, and electromagnetism remained separate. He believed that a more fundamental theory could unify these forces, providing a deeper understanding of the universe.
So the ONR is saying, the Office of Naval Research saying, he had nothing to do with the Philadelphia experiment or teleportation. Now, I will put a link, the link in the description of this podcast. It's called the ONR's information sheet on the Philadelphia experiment. Now, I don't know how credible this is because the website is called gravitywarpdrive.com.
Yeah, checks out.
And here is...
Well, they actually figured out that there's actually a warp drive. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. It's the it starts with
the USS Voyager,
the M. But he was a Star Trek fan, and then he came up with this theory that basically it distorts space time, basically bunches it up like a wave, and then the ship will ride the wave of space time faster than the speed of light.
That's causing the warp. Okay, because it's riding the wave.
So, but his theory was it was mathematically possible, but it would take more energy than existed in the known universe to complete. But then later, people actually refined this theory and made the math work with stuff that we could, the type of energy that we could actually use in our world that we have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so what you're saying is warp drive is possible.
It is possible,
but you should do a level 5 diagnosis.
You have to do the level 5 diagnostic.
Before you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something's going to go wrong.
Exactly.
Anyway, you can go to this website. I'm going to put the link in the description, gravitywarpdrive.com. And I don't know why they're saying that this is if you look at this website, who is managing this site? Office of Naval Research information sheet on the Philadelphia experiment. I don't know if this is a joke or if it's actual from the Navy, because they're putting here's the information sheet, Philadelphia experiment. Over the years, the Navy has received numerous questions about the so-called so basically they're debunking everybody saying this happened on this website. The majority of the inquiries are directed to the Office of Naval Research. So they're getting flooded to this day about this experiment. And they're like probably tired of it.
Yeah.
Guys, please. There's no teleportation. Stop. We had nothing to do with it.
A deathbed confession of Carlos Allende.
Okay, should we go to that?
No, finish what you're saying, but
Okay.
I just wanted to put that
Okay,
pin
so
there.
okay, gotcha. So Jessup is actually mentioned on this website because he's mentioned that he has a 1956 a copy of Jessup's book. It was mailed anonymously to the Office of Naval Research. The pages of the book were interspersed with handwritten comments, which allegedly, has knowledge of UFOs. Of course, that's all in the news today. So,
Yeah.
not sure if they were laughing back then, but who's laughing now about the
we call them UAPs now.
Oh yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon. I like UFO
It's
better.
phenomenal.
Yeah, why is it phenomenon? I can't identify the flying object.
Because,
Come on.
John Travolta.
because now whenever they see it,
Boom.
they can be like, dun, 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 phenomenon. That song lives rent free in my house.
It does.
In my head.
Why, who did that?
I still laugh like an idiot
Sesame
every time
Street.
it comes up. It was.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should do that karaoke.
Yes.
Bring it up, bro.
Absolutely.
Come on.
What was I going to say? My favorite part of the Muppets were the two old guys in the balcony. They had
Yeah.
the best jokes,
I like the
Zingers.
cook.
right? Oh, the cook.
Poopity corn. You look at the poopity corn.
Anyway, I will put this site
Any user.
in the description. It's pretty. Matter of fact, there's a rabbit hole on this website, gravitywarpdrive.com.
It looks like an old Zanga page.
It does.
This
doesn't
looks
it?
like the exact website for the freaking
that we
yeah.
the birds.
Yeah. No, not the birds. The that cult that killed themselves, bro.
Oh yes, it does.
It's got the same
Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate. Yeah, the
Yes.
same space backdrop
Yeah.
as that website.
Let's see if anything else in here.
It's an old Zanga
It
website.
says in here the 1950s. This ship was. The USS Timmerman in the 1950s. This ship was part of an experiment to test the effects of small high frequency generator, providing 1,000 hertz instead of the standard 400 hertz. Well, that hurts.
Nice.
The higher frequency generator produced a cornea discharges and other well-known phenomenon associated with high frequency generators. None of the crew suffered any effects. So at the bottom line is just saying the ONR has never conducted any investigations on invisibility, either in 1943 or at any other time. The ONR was established in 1946, which you mentioned. In view of present scientific knowledge, the ONR scientists do not believe that such an experiment could be possible except in the realm of science fiction. Of course the Navy's going to say that.
Science.
It's science. So you've got a lot. Okay, so by the way, we're about to do a show also on the Montauk Project, which I said this is connected because if you look at these links, Al Bielek was a project manager for guess what?
The Montauk Project.
Yes.
No way.
So he was involved in the Philadelphia experiment as well.
Dang.
Holy moly.
So I found this was a Carlos Allende and his Philadelphia experiment, deathbed statement of Carlos Allende. 20th century has been Carlos Allende, a mysterious man and recluse of the 20th century, has been hiding out in Greeley, Colorado. Sought by many, he is the subject of at least 22 books. Most authors conclude by asking his true whereabouts. If we could only find Carlos Allende, states one writer, we could ask him more questions. Carlos Allende, with his own writings, spawned numerous books and movies based on the Philadelphia experiment, an alleged classified defense project in 1943. Okay, we all know that. The day was bright and sunny. We sat on a bench in downtown Greeley after the Centennial Building, near the Centennial Building, seat of the Weld County government. Located 50 miles north of Denver, Greeley is home to the Denver Bronco training camp. Formed originally as Union Colony in New York City, the town was established by Nathan Meeker and Horace Greeley, who promoted the westward movement of our nation. So, now in 1985, at the center of Greeley, Carlos Allende says that America should try another experiment. The Philadelphia experiment worked, Carlos said. That was what frightened the military. They didn't know what Einstein was doing. He used them to accomplish his own research in propulsion. He believed we could travel faster than the speed of light. That's what he was doing, and they didn't even know it. Allende maintained that in October of 1943, he was in a convoy of ships sailing to Algeria. They did experiments then. I say they must have done it 144 times. I don't know. At least 1,000 men have seen the ships become invisible. They radiated the target ship with electromagnetic beams. It started out as an experiment in degaussing ships that they wouldn't attract mines and in making ships invisible to radar. But Einstein took it farther than anyone expected. He made the ships invisible to your eyes. Einstein was on the test ship in the DE-168. I was on the USS Forsyth. We were in a military convoy with many, many ships, and I was on the bow. There's a place where you can stand on top of thick covers, about a foot above the deck. That was where I was. The railing was curved. I hooked my left hand under the railing and leaned out as far as I could. The force field was under my nose, as you might say. Really, it was under my chest and neck. It had spread out from the target ship. I reached into it with my right arm. It kicked. Curiosity, they say. That's why I did it. You might say I was satisfied. I had my question answered for the moment. The visibility of the force field is what disturbed Einstein and the defense investigators. As the ship became invisible, the force field became visible. They couldn't figure it out. That's why Einstein came to me. He saw me put my arm in. He wanted to know what I saw and what I had felt, if I smelled anything, and why I had done it. He sort of gave me an intelligence test, you might say.
Smell my finger.
Yeah, smell my finger. Once he realized that I did it out of a deep scientific curiosity, he spent time with me. He gave me a rapid course in the physics of invisibility during the next 2.5 weeks. Einstein and his team were using the Navy for their research. This whole group was Jewish. Steinmetz would wound the coils on the beam generator. It was based on the work of Tesla, but only Steinmetz could. That's another episode.
This is a lot of stuff for someone who's dying.
Steinmetz could make the winding. The little dwarf, a hunchback, was the world's best researcher. What Einstein really was working on was the Starship propulsion system. You have to realize that this was before rockets. This was before NASA's space program. This was Einstein's test of space travel. Starship drive it faster than light. Wow. What Einstein proved was that invisibility is a precursor to the propulsion beyond the speed of light. Invisibility is nothing more than the precondition, a practical utilization to the magnetic field related to Einstein's tunnel propulsion system. There is nothing to be afraid of with invisibility. Of the many combinations of human blood type, bone, and flesh type, there's only one that remains invisible for life. Others are not affected adversely. This means that the door is open for star travel for all Americans. We must do it. We must proceed. This is the future. As Carlos talked, he nodded to the people who smiled at him. The day was bright and beautiful, and the morning sun radiated towards noon. Was rising towards noon. Okay. August 14th, 1986. And then the last quote says, "This is my deathbed statement. In case I die, the questions will be answered. All except one that will die with me. America has the answer since 1943. All the answers are right under the nose of NASA and the Department of Defense, but they are still afraid. The secret is that the Philadelphia experiment is repeatable. It should be repeated again and again. It will lead to star travel into a fleet of starships capable of protecting America. Travel faster than light has been documented as a phenomenon. Now we must learn again what Einstein knew in 1943. Man can create transportation at speeds faster than light. The first and most important statement is that experiment is repeatable. We must do it. You must continue this research." He goes on. Do you want me to continue reading? Yeah, there's a little bit left.
We will continue this
after the break.
Deathbed confession.
Heck yeah.
Right after we take a break. We're going to take a break real quick to pay the bills because we got skills to pay the bills. We're also Deathbed confession coming back. Also, we're going to talk about Project Rainbow, and we're not talking about the gays anymore.
We might.
So we'll be right. We might. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. As we just took the break, Curtis was reading the deathbed confession of Carl Allen. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Carl Allen. And it was pretty lengthy, and he's got just a little bit more. Sound like he was hanging on to his dear life before he said all this stuff.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, continue with that, and then we'll talk about Project Rainbow.
So we had talked about the first and most important statement. Now we're on the second. The second thing is that Einstein came to me and trained me in the theory of invisibility. He said they were using the Navy for his own research into starship propulsion. All the Navy wanted was degaussing and the radar invisibility. You can imagine their surprise. Thirdly, when the ship was radiated with energy beam, particles were thrown off. It formed a thin haze which increased in density. The haze became a mist, then a good solid fog of particles, atomic particles, and even whole atoms. It wasn't green or blue, as has been reported, but an ultraviolet glow. The increasing density of the field caused a braking effect. The braking effect on every atom in the electron shell is vital to invisibility. It stopped the orbital motion. Electrons were slowed to a stop. That moment when they do stop, the enormous distances in atoms becomes apparent to the eye. If a nucleus were the size of a pea, the first electron shell would be about 2,500 miles out on that scale. This is an enormous distance, mostly empty space. When the electron shell, stupid pop-ups.
Stop it.
When the electron shell orbital motion is stopped, the illusion of solidity is removed. That is the basis of invisibility. You are simply seeing empty space. The next important thing is that applied exterior force field prevents this nucleus from exploding. The beam is creating a super dense flowing magnetic field moving at the speed of light. It is moving. Dude, these
Got it.
Pop-ups.
Got it.
It's a very trusted site, you can tell.
Yeah, just like warp drive speed.
Warp speed, right? The instant jump of strength in the nuclear bond stops the detonation. But if you still have the transportation to worry about, the next important statement is that you have an imbalance of particles in the effective mass. This creates a particle hunger. The particle hunger has to be satisfied once the force field develops. Because it becomes an acute particle hunger is in the worst and most serious way. There are three ways at this point that cause the instantaneous transport. Let's say there are two ways for certain and possibly a third way. Einstein tries two of the ways and they worked. This experiment is repeatable. Repeatability is a criterion of science. Okay. I've never stated this before, but since it is my deathbed, I will say it clearly. It is repeatable. The last step is to utilize the Einstein tunnel theory that will triple the speed. Proof exists right now that we can travel at 4.5 times the speed of light. If you want to talk about that, I will. With examples that everyone can check. If you don't mind for a moment, I'd like to pause and smoke a cigarette. I'm tired too and have been up all night.
Wow.
Okay.
So this guy, he's saying he was an eyewitness to this experiment, and Einstein came to him and said, hey, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
And it's not about, just degaussing the ship so we don't have any magnet. And also, it's not about invisibility. It's about teleporting somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Do we think this was a mistake? It was actual, let's turn them in. Or, hey, we're trying to make our ship not magnetic, and it turned invisible. And I'm just trying to wrap my mind around.
Well, the teleportation.
Was the teleportation the warp speed he's talking about? And that's how fast they went to Norfolk, or it just went into a vortex and popped out somewhere else?
That might have been an earlier experiment.
You know what I'm saying?
Where they just wormhole jumped over to Norfolk.
Gotcha. But he was really about, hey, we can actually travel faster than light.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we can go to the stars.
It wasn't invisible. It literally warp drive.
That's what I'm hearing.
Warp drive back.
That's what I'm hearing. Also, I don't know if you know this, but the Philadelphia experiment has also been called the Project Rainbow. It's a comprehensive search of the archives that have failed to identify records of the Project Rainbow relating to teleportation or making a ship disappear. In the 1940s, the code also named Rainbow was used to refer to Rome, Berlin, Tokyo axis. Rainbow plans were the war plans to defeat Italy, Germany, and Japan, which we're on the tail end of talking about those guys. Rainbow 5, the plan in effect on 7 December 1941 when Japan was attacked by Pearl Harbor, was the plan in the U.S. to use to fight the Axis powers, was Project Rainbow. But some researchers have erroneously concluded that degaussing has a connection with making an object invisible, which I think, based on the Deathbed confession, it's really not. So they're saying, oh, degaussing doesn't do this. Well, we really weren't degaussing.
Yeah.
We were actually trying to do something different.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like, according to what Alan said, was that Albert Einstein was doing something that the military wasn't even aware that he was trying to do. Like, he was trying to prove faster than light travel, and then that what was that? The unified theory,
Unified field
theory. What? Yeah. So he was
unified field theory. Yeah,
he was working on that. Came out through some breakthroughs, and everybody's like, whoa, we're not ready for that. And that drive, the warp drive, was called the Alcubierre drive.
Alcubierre.
Alcubierre.
That sounds like something on Star Trek.
It didn't start with an M. But yeah, he was a Star Trek fan. And they've actually proven it mathematically that it'll work. And they had another breakthrough. But sorry, back to what we're talking about, Rainbow.
Yeah, I was just saying it was Project Rainbow, and they haven't found any actual archives to just show that, so I don't know where they came up with that. So, Guapo. Sorry about that. What do we? So we got here. We got any extra context?
Not really.
Is this Holy Grail?
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of.
I think
that's always our go-to, right?
I thought that was really cool, his deathbed confession, because that's
crazy.
That was all quoted by him, and so if that's something that Albert Einstein did, great. If maybe
how come we haven't finished it?
Yeah, maybe we have.
Or maybe that's
what these orbs are around.
These things are flying at faster than light speed.
Mm-hmm. And like you always see, like at some of the videos I've seen online of some of these UFOs or UAPs are being escorted by military fighter jets and things like that. So they'll fly by and you see two jets go by right after it. And then even there was another one I was listening to on Mr. Ballin's podcast about this lady found this light came up to her. It's like the typical UFO story where it just hovered in front. They got out and they all experienced radiation poisoning. And then it flew off after these military helicopters came and escorted it away. So I don't believe that these UFOs are necessarily aliens. Maybe it's alien technology or stuff that we've had, but, maybe there were breakthroughs that were kind of hush-hushed, and that's why we have all these secret programs and all that stuff. But, maybe it could be an extension also of Operation Paperclip, where these Nazi scientists were experimenting on people, UFO abductions and things like that. That could be something where they're trying to take these people and see, okay, how much can the human body stand? How much, how does the human body react to these types of things?
Well, exactly. It's all about experimentation.
Are you going to read this, or can I read it?
What?
That website you gave.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
You got it?
Well, this is you posted it. It's called Inscribed on the BelievingMind.blog. Posted this about the Philadelphia experiment. So I'll skip through some of it. Some of the facts already are kind of a little iffy, but there is some important stuff that I think we can pull from it that could potentially be true. So the Philadelphia experiment was the culmination of research carried out by the U.S. Navy into stealth technology. Supposedly it was Einstein, not for sure. This guy's saying that the idea began with Nikola Tesla at the University of Chicago in 1931, where it was known as the Invisibility Project, also the Project Rainbow. The goal was to make ships invisible to enemy radar. When Franklin Roosevelt was inaugurated in 1933, he already knew Tesla from his work from the Navy during World War I. He invited him to Washington and asked him what he was working on. Tesla mentioned his invisibility research, and Roosevelt invited him to be part of the new initiative, bringing together country's top scientists at Princeton. This became the Institute for Advanced Study. Roosevelt made Tesla director of Invisibility Research, and Hungarian-born genius John von Neumann worked alongside him. Also, Albert Einstein was at the Institute as a theoretical consultant. Tesla's approach to render ships invisible by using electrical generators to create electromagnetic bottle around a ship. A series of experiments were conducted, and in September 1940, a small unmanned ship was made invisible in the Brooklyn Naval Yard. Roosevelt was pleased with the success of the experiment and ordered a battleship he assigned to the project. It arrived in Philadelphia Navy Yard in 1941. The United States entered World War II on December 11th, 1941. Because German U-boats were sinking many ships, the scientists were under pressure. I'm trying to read through it fast. So they were under pressure to make stealth technology a reality. The chief medical officer of Eldridge, Oscar O. Schneider, had sunk 68 Allied ships with as a German U-boat captain before he was captured by France and turned over to the U.S. Navy, supposedly. An experiment with the crew was scheduled for March 1942. However, the electromagnetic field was now 100 times as powerful as the one used in the previous test. And Tesla informed the Navy that he was concerned about the safety of the crew. The Navy told him that the test had to go forward, so on the evening of the experiment, Tesla sabotaged the equipment. The next day, the experiment failed. The battleship didn't become invisible. Tesla quit the project, and Dr. John Neumann was put in charge. So in September 1942, a new ship was commissioned for the experiments, the USS Eldridge. Von Neumann redesigned the field generating equipment, and much work was done building, installing, and testing it. On July 22nd, 1943, a somewhat successful test was carried out. The Eldridge became invisible for 20 minutes before the order was given to stop it, but there was a problem. The crew became nauseous and mentally disoriented from the EM radiation. Von Neumann now began to share Tesla's concerns about how the field was affecting the men. Nevertheless, the Navy informed them that he was conducting an experiment with the manned ship by the deadline of August 12, 1943. So, on the day of the experiment, Eldridge was taken to the middle of Philadelphia Harbor, where it was surrounded by 3 ships. When the equipment was turned on, the Eldridge turned invisible with only a greenish ozone haze around it. Suddenly, there was a flash of blue light, and the ship completely disappeared. It reappeared 4 hours later, but terrible things had happened to the crew. Additionally, the equipment on board had been intentionally destroyed. So,
What?
Yeah,
Gone for 4 hours.
that's what it said. I mean, I don't know who knows about this. This website also says the guy sitting here was an extraterrestrial. It's like
Let me see.
the guy in the front's an alien. You're like, why?
He looks weird.
He looks like
He's got a weird shaped head, dude. He's from outer space. But I think the thing I really wanted to pull out of that was just like you were talking, it's the EM radiation from this equipment. If they were able to take this alleged equipment and then, like we do with technology, make it smaller to like an orb,
Yeah.
Maybe these orbs that people are seeing in like UFO encounters.
It's always with them, yeah.
Yeah, it's always making them disoriented and sick, and they get radiation poisoning. Maybe this is the way that they were able to like get this technology to like an orb style where you can transfer in and out of certain spaces.
Well, think about it. We did an episode on Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
And they have on video orbs that show up on one side of the mountain, and then all of a sudden it disappears and then shows up on the completely other, like it passed through the mountain.
Yeah.
And they got that on video.
Yeah.
So, and it's an orb. Of course, they can't identify what it is, and then it just goes away quickly.
And the same thing with those. They get radiation poisoning. They're physically sick by these orbs. I mean, with the Skinwalker Ranch, people say that they have like an immense feelings of fear,
Right.
that go along with it. So
one dude had some kind of brain injury, and
yeah, the orbs going through cows and like burning a hole through them and stuff.
Maybe that's the mutilation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think the what we read of his deathbed confession, it kind of makes sense when you look at an atom and the theory of an atom, like the electrons. And this is something I've had a lot more experience with because I was in like AP chemistry and stuff like that.
He's a scientist.
And I'm practically a scientist. No, but like I really enjoyed chemistry and
Nerd.
learning about like
Yeah.
all sorts of different, you know, chemical effects and how the atoms
elements
work together and why they work together. But that is one of the things is that those the electrons are as far away as the sun is from the Earth in you know, like what do you call that? Proportionately.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got essentially, if you blew an atom up to life size, the nucleus would be as far away as the sun is from the Earth, and all that is dead space. So what he was saying, where Einstein was saying that, yeah, there's just a lot of dead space. If you stop the electrons, that gives the appearance of solidity, because those electrons are moving so fast, it creates a field that you know, and that's why the vibration, you can't go through solid objects because your electrons are bumping into the electrons of, say, a table or a wall or something like that. Now, I'm sure there's some scientists out there who'd be like, actually, you're wrong. But
actually, you can
listen,
get
scientists are not listening to this show.
no, they're not. Hey, we need some scientists on here.
Yeah.
So if you know a scientist,
Science.
get them to
science. She blinded me.
Anyway, so that's to me, it's a believable. Now that guy could be discredited or disproved or whatever, and then I changed my tune. But I'm like, yeah, that actually makes sense to me.
Checks out.
Well, there's too
It
many.
checks out.
There's too many eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of eyewitnesses.
I
mean,
saw
the ship
one
that was in Norfolk saw the dang thing appear.
Well, and I saw one that said that
The
the
USS
ship in
Kashamoka.
Norfolk,
What?
they saw it, the Eldridge, appear after. I'm having trouble with my mic.
Go ahead.
They saw it appear before it left the harbor. Like the timing wise, it was actually before.
Oh, so you're saying time travel?
Like they jumped. Yeah, that was just one of the accounts I saw.
So it showed up in Norfolk before it left the harbor in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
So they went back in time. They went back in time, hit Norfolk, and then went back to Philly. You said it was how long was it?
Said 4 hours.
4 hours? So they're sitting there in Philly, right? And they turn this machine on, and they got this blue purple haze. All of a sudden, they see this ship disappear. Well, they think it's actually invisible, like the ship's still there. But then 4 hours later, it reappears. So they think it went invisible, which was their plan.
Yeah.
But it actually showed up in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Before it left the harbor.
Now, what if
where was it in those 4 hours? That's the question.
Well, I mean, alleged 4 hours.
Well, I'm just saying. There was 4 hours of time displacement where we went to, and I don't know how long it sat in the harbor in Norfolk. I don't know how long it sat there before it was warped back, but obviously it went somewhere.
From all the accounts I read, it was like just seconds.
Oh, really?
It was like boom, boom. It was like, whoa.
So we're
what's
dealing with
Eldridge doing?
time. So it was somewhere for 4 hours. They lost time.
You're really stuck on this 4 hour thing.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't think the 4 hours is factual.
I think it. Because the guy's an alien.
This guy's website.
What website is? Because my gravity.
You posted it.
Like
cheeseball.
gravitywarpdrive.com is amazing.
You're like, this is good, man.
And then what's that website name?
This is inscribed on the believingmind.blog.
The
That's a good one,
one
bro.
that I read was
You posted
I love
it.
that.
You cheeseball.
was actually
Cheeseball.
scribd.com.
Scribd. So we got a lot of amazing websites for factual information on the show.
Well,
Yes.
we're talking about an experiment that's,
Listen,
if it's real, they're
it's-
going to be doing everything to
it's
cover it up.
Einstein.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. We got witnesses, but then all of a sudden the Office of Naval Research, no, there's no way Einstein was into that.
Possible.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to make ships invisible and travel.
Well, initially,
the thing is, why aren't we doing it
the
now?
theory of
But
relativity
you said we
says-
are doing it.
I think so with the orbs. I think the orbs is like a smaller, condensed version of that.
Yeah.
Of what we're seeing.
I think it helps the drones pass through portals and get to certain places where it wants to go in the grand expanse of space. Maybe
Well,
they're
that-
going to Mars.
That would make way more sense, though, too, that the government has this technology. They're saying that it was never completed, the unified theory. But what if we're, they lied because the government never
Easy.
does that.
Of course.
and I am not suicidal.
I'm not suicidal either.
So
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely loony bin status, but here we got some orbs. There's pictures of the orbs all over the place. Go ahead.
When we do the Montauk experiment next episode, all this is going to make sense to you.
yes,
Yeah.
All of this, what we're talking about right now, because we're like kind of, is it right? Is it wrong? No, they've lied to us, and they've had alien technology for a long time. Whether
I don't
the
know
aliens,
I don't know if it's quote unquote alien technology.
oh, I think it absolutely is. They gave it to us to see how, if we could hang ourselves with it.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
So what is an alien then?
Well, it's some other guy from another planet.
You think so? That's where that's your theory. You're going with that,
or it could be just some kind of fetus that they grew, and it just looks weird.
they're saying,
What if it's an experimental body that they tried to grow and make it, and it's an alien? It's actually a human that looks like these weird things.
Let's get down to the brass tacks.
Okay,
here.
what's the brass tack?
there should be no tax.
You believe in aliens, extraterrestrial from other planets, different parts of the universe.
I think it'd be weird if there weren't.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just know, I do know, based on my biblical worldview, that there are other beings that were created other than humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, aliens, angels, divine people, Psalm 82, the divine council, I don't know. Maybe those are the things that we're like,
Deuteronomy 32,
Yes.
supernatural worldview.
Genesis 6, the Mount Hermon experiment.
I'm talking specifically the amount of planets that are out there. And then, I've seen a bunch of these things on not TikTok, Instagram, where they're like, okay, the amount of planets that are in our not our solar system, in our
galaxy,
galaxy,
the Milky Way,
and then the known universe, and then like mathematically, there would have to be millions and millions of habitable planets.
Have we ever found one?
There's a few that are like we can't really see that far, so it's really hard. But
That's weird.
They're especially with the new James Webb Space Telescope, we're actually able to see past the fields that are causing disruption, stuff like that. So, but there are a few planets out there. They're named like B52 and stuff like that because there's just so many planets out there. But they think that one is one that's maybe Earth-like. But we're looking for Earth-like planets, and our history, even biblical history, only deals with this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you read C.S. Lewis's Paralandra. It's a part of his space trilogy, but he actually goes to this planet. He's talked to by one of what we would call the Elohim, to talk to this first man and woman, because one of the bad Elohim is actually there trying to corrupt them and get them to do something wrong. And so he's like, he's lying. Don't listen to him. And he's like, why would he lie? And there's just this innocence about these people. But I say all that to say that, it would be weird if there weren't other planets. And if there was a big galactic, thing, they are saying that this galactic, not an empire, but galactic, like this federation of planets is coming here in like 2026. I've heard that
close?
Multiple places. Yeah. And that's why they revealed that, yes, the government's like, yeah, there are UAPs. But their language is very
We have
specific.
spoken to these people, and we're going to invite them in.
They didn't say that. There was one congressman or senator, something like that said that, we found biologics. But he's very careful not to say they're extraterrestrial. They're also very careful not to say that, the UAPs exist, then they're phenomena, but they're not saying that, hey, we didn't cause this.
Right. But they are also saying the biologics are not human.
Are they?
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they're saying in 2026 there's going to be a federation of planets that come and
that will reveal themselves to and basically bring our utopia that we want, or bring us into this. But there's this one guy on Instagram. He's like this bald guy, and he claims to channel
the entity.
Yeah, channel the entities of light that are coming to and
everything you're saying is Montauk. I'm telling you, man, that's exactly what we're going in Montauk.
Well, I mean, dude, I
next
don't know.
week.
I think here's my theory.
What do you got?
With aliens, okay? It's not a full-fledged theory yet. I'm still working out the kinks. All right? But we know Genesis 6 happened.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a supernatural worldview. I believe, and I've talked briefly on the show, that the quote-unquote flood, a lot of them went into Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
And now when I say Hollow Earth, I'm not
Deep down.
thinking globe. I'm not thinking globe and then hole. I'm thinking caverns, cave systems. What's the Golgotha?
Golgotha's their, yeah.
The big one. I mean,
Yeah, that's their home.
there's
That's their
evidence
capital.
of aqueducts everywhere. So, the reason for the flood was the removal of the knowledge of the angels.
The corruption of man, yeah.
Yeah, the corruptions of man, but the knowledge of like
What
the
they gave
heavens,
us, yeah.
basically. So, this is a full-fledged loony bin status
Got it.
thing. Okay,
Looney
there's all
Bins.
these there's all these theories of like Atlantis, technology advanced
That was in
civilization, huh?
That was in Africa.
Or regardless of where it's at, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, these beings went into hiding under the earth, started a civilization down there. It's a technologically advanced civilization. Atlantis was purposely flooded by this civilization as like their living place, right? Going off the rails.
Who
here, right?
flooded it?
They flooded themselves.
Oh, by accident.
Yep.
They're trying to do time travel.
Well, they flooded themselves.
Okay,
And
go
they
ahead.
lived down there in
Right.
a globe or something. I don't know. Make it up. Doesn't matter.
Make it up. Just make it up.
Anyway.
Make it.
These
Website.
beings are evil beings. They're evil spirits.
Okay.
Right? Whatever. This slowly like revealing of these species of extra species is normalizing it for this group of people to come surface level
To come out,
and
yeah.
reveal
Yeah.
themselves to us. And then under that there's like quote unquote they're going to say it's aliens. We're going to be unified under this alien quotation marks
Right.
group
Uh-huh.
under a full one world government.
Yeah, because
under
we all
some
got to
sort of-
we all got to come together because we're not alone anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
we're Earth now, right?
Yeah.
And it's all one big ruse because it's they're just technologically advanced beings that have been on this Earth for forever.
That's an interesting theory.
That's what I'm riding with, bro. I feel like space itself. Now we're getting into kind of like
Is
what heaven's gonna be like. This is my theory on heaven.
Okay.
I don't have any biblical grounding at all in this, but it's in my brain. It makes sense.
In my brain.
In my puny brain.
You got to hook me up with your supplier, dude.
Yeah, with my supply. In my puny brain. I feel like the Bible says we're going to be like gods and that we are going to judge the angels, right? When we go into heaven. I feel like the universe itself, the reason why it's always expanding, I talk with my buddy Luke about this all the time, is because the universe is growing with the amount of like people accepting Christ, right? And that whenever we
This
accept
energy.
Christ, like we are going to be, basically we have our own planet that we're going to rule over.
Now you're
basically.
talking Mormonism.
Wait a minute. Well, yeah. Yeah, that is in Mormon.
Well,
Joseph Smith came up with
Jesus is God, though.
that.
That's the
Yes.
difference. He wasn't created.
Yahweh.
That's right. Yeah, that is the difference.
That's the difference, bro. That's my theory. It's crazy. I get it. But I don't believe in aliens per se. I think it's going to be demonic forces.
Okay.
Yeah. So just be
Demonic
wary of it.
forces
What if it's
are
both?
aliens. Well, I mean, we just label stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the demonic forces, aliens, just it's all under one guise.
Yeah, that's true too. Just could be
Like what I was
different
talking about earlier with a diamond having multi-facets.
Yeah.
We're only talking about one of the facets when we talk.
He started the song too early, but
I
now
don't
we got to
care, but
sing.
we got the lead.
Yeah, come on.
I mean,
Joey,
we can
this
still,
is your song.
We can still. You're gonna have to lead me on this one.
I gotta back up.
Sound like a bunch of dogs.
Here we go.
Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with stinging sweat.
Got it?
Seems every path leads me to nowhere. Oh, yeah. The bullets scream to me from somewhere. Here they come to snuff the rooster. Oh yeah!
Where's Byron?
I'm here.
Yeah, here comes the rooster. Yeah. You know he ain't gonna die. No, no, no. You know he ain't gonna
Okay. That was a good one. That was a rooster from Alice in Chains. For all
Yep.
my old grunge heads out there that love the STP and the Chains.
STP, baby.
Oh man, that was a good show.
Was it?
I mean, I enjoyed it.
I thought it sucked.
Joey hated
Joey
it.
thinks our shows always suck,
Yes, sir.
but that is the Philadelphia experiment. Hey, stay tuned next week. We're going to be delving, because all these things are connected. Operation Paperclip, the Manhattan Project, the Philadelphia experiment, and next week we're going to be going over the Montauk Project, which is going to kind of blow you out of the water. So make sure you go to our website, bottomofthat.com. Check out our blog for all our show notes and resource material. You can also find us, if you have not found us yet, on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok, and all the places that you want to find us on. If you're listening on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute, and you like this episode, do me a favor. Share this episode with your friends, because you love your friends and you want to share them some good content. It'll also help the algorithm feed up this content to other people that like it. And also, if you're on Spotify, don't forget Question of the Week. Just scroll down and vote for this. What's the image on the King Pakal's tomb? Is he entering a spaceship, taking a whiz, going in a time portal, or does he have a lightsaber? Go and vote for that. You know what? If you didn't like this episode, I appreciate you tuning in this far and sticking with the Philadelphia experiment. Hey, you can tune in next week. You might hear Joey say,
There's a microphone in the cake.
in the cake? In the cake?
Yes.
Okay.
The cake is a lie.